Stimulating growth and employment is at this time the highest priority. This government is equally focused on protecting our people, particularly the most vulnerable in our society.
And Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller made strategic strides in 2014 to achieve those goals. To enhance fiscal prudence, the Prime Minister appointed Venice Pottinger-Scott as Director General of Public Sector Transformation and Modernization in the Office of the Cabinet. A Cabinet subcommittee was also created to identify and remove impediments to growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted today to declare Section 2 of the North-South Highway open.
With the Mount Rossa bypass opening, there's now a 40% reduction in commuting time for goods and services traveling between Kingston and the northern end of the island. And in a bid to reduce energy costs, in June, Prime Minister Simpson Miller organized an electricity sector enterprise team led by engineer Dr. Vin Lawrence.
Based on preliminary modeling by the ESEC, Jamaica is looking to reduce our energy cost in the region of 30% by 2018, resulting in projected savings of approximately US $350 million.
In October, the Prime Minister broke ground for the first major infrastructure under the National Logistics Hub Initiative. The total logistics facility at the Kingston Wharves will be delivered later this year at a cost of $22 million.
I view this ongoing partnership with the EU as critical support for Jamaica's growth agenda.
In 2014, the Portia Simpson Miller-led administration secured over $12 billion in grant funding from the European Union. Areas covered included justice, environment and climate change, fiscal management, and capacity building projects to improve productivity and competitiveness.
The primary objective of rural development is the economic enrichment and promotion of social well-being of our rural population.
To achieve those objectives, Mrs. Simpson Miller established the National Rural Development Task Force led by Minister of State Luther Buchanan. Minister Buchanan sourced additional equipment and infrastructure for health services in rural Jamaica. Meanwhile, 45 houses in Barry St. Catherine received electricity for the first time through the $14 million Rural Electrification Program. Government's land titling program in rural Jamaica was also accelerated in 2014. Close to 400 land titles were issued across communities in Manchester, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, St. Mary, St. Catherine, St. Anne, and Portland. And 84 houses worth $297 million were delivered to residents of Sugar Barracks in Trelawney and Westmoreland. At the Prime Minister's instruction, the National Housing Trust also launched NHD on Wheels, a mobile service for customers in deep rural Jamaica.
This mobile initiative will extend its presence to persons who are not able to visit an office, but would certainly appreciate having an office and personnel coming to their doorstep.
To further improve service delivery, Mrs. Simpson Miller sanctioned the strengthening of the NHD board with the appointment of 4 new members. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller moved decisively in 2014 to prevent the Ebola virus from entering the island. In October, she established a national Ebola action plan and formed an integrated national coordinating team to carry out Ebola preparations. Assistance was also sought from Cuba, and several private sector entities supported the Ebola prevention plan.
I sympathize with those persons who have come down with this painful illness.
The Prime Minister also initiated a $500 million campaign against the chikungunya virus. The funds went towards a comprehensive public education campaign and cleanup activities undertaken by parliamentarians and parish councils.
We're working toward making communities more livable.
With help from the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, Greenwich Farm in St. Andrew received new perimeter fencing at a cost of $6.75 million. By November, 7 communities began benefiting from a $30 million electricity regularization program. The partnership involved JSIF and the Jamaica Public Service Company. Another $36 million was released by JSIF for the upgrading of the Clarence Brim Basic School in Troy, Trelawney.
When I look into their eyes, I'm inspired to work harder to achieve the Jamaican dream of opportunity, prosperity, justice, and peace for all.
Mrs. Simpson-Miller also pushed for greater social protection through education and training in 2014 with the implementation of a $15 million adult education program in Majesty Gardens. Through the Prime Minister, 5 Jamaicans received 5-year scholarships to study in China. Another 47 GSAT awardees received scholarship assistance from the Urban Development Corporation and the Office of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. And the Prime Minister secured a 4-year full scholarship worth $64,000 for a qualified Jamaican student to study at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania in September this year. The scholarship was named in honor of the Prime Minister's visit to the school last May, where she received an honorary doctorate. And through the Prime Minister's lobbying efforts, the Japanese embassy released $11 million to expand the Care Bear Early Childhood Institution in St. Andrew. In a bid to clarify the events of the May 24, 2010 incident in Tivoli Gardens, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller established a commission of inquiry. The 3-member commission, led by Sir David Simmons, started deliberations in December.
In recognition of emerging global challenges, we have deepened and accelerated economic diplomacy.
In February, to celebrate 40 years of China-Jamaica relations, ground was broken for a $240 million Chinese garden at Hope Gardens. Jamaica also celebrated 50 years of partnership with Japan in 2014 by staging a number of events and participating in the first Japan CARICOM Summit in Trinidad. Jamaica further deepened cooperation with regional and international partners at the 6th Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Association of the Caribbean States and the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Antigua and Barbuda.
This government is working to get our nation where it needs to go. We are building a stronger economy, which borrows less, produces more, and delivers more growth and a better quality of life for all Jamaicans.
And from all indications, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller achieved those targets in 2014 and is continuing in 2015 towards meeting the Vision 2030 development goals.